How to create a repeat or column gradient in Affinity Photo. Select a rectangle, then go to the gradient tool, and with that just drag across. Now the gradient you get may be black to black, could be white to black, but just click up here and you can see here you got that, and I'm just going to copy that. So copy, and that puts it at the 50% position. Now repeat the copy about 10 times and it will create multiple, lost count already, 6, 7, whatever, just a number of times. You can always, of course, create 8 or 9, and you can always delete them or use them. But what you need to do then is select this one, and instead of 50, put it to 10. Select this one and put it to 20. Now they're all black because I want it to be white, black, white. You could go for green, black, blue, white, all kinds of ones. So select this one. And if you lose it just like that, you can always go back to it. Suddenly it just disappeared for some reason. Select that one, and you can move it as well. You don't have to enter the value. It's perfectly reasonable but it's just easy. Just go there and you can just drag them across. Say 40. Now, unfortunately, you can't drag out the panel. It's a pity that does not seem to be available. I don't know why they haven't got a resize feature. So you can see 70, then 80, and then now, if you can't drag that one again, just go to this one and click copy, and then get it at 90. So I've now got one at 0, and so on. You can see all the way across. But what I want now is to add another one in. So I'm just going to go copy, and you can see it's just in between 0 and 10, so it's at 5%, and just click there and set it to white. Then you go to the next black, and again copy, and it puts it again 15. Unfortunately, each time you have to go and set it to white. You could of course do a number of variations of this. You might find a particular way of doing it quicker. Again, select that one, and again copy, click there and set it to white. Of course, you'll notice straight away if you've made a mistake. So suddenly you notice that you've got maybe a bit more white than black, or vice versa. So now I've got my gradient. How to store it away in the swatches? Because it's great creating it. You don't want to have to create it each and every time. You could do, of course, you could make an action up. Always possible. But go to the swatches. And the key thing is make certain the move tool is used. Need to use the move tool, because sometimes you'll find that the swatches here doesn't display the gradient. Should, if you select the move tool, display this. I have noticed sometimes you have to go back a couple of times, back and forth, gradient to the move tool, and eventually it works it out that you want that in there. And that's the key thing. And then just go here. So you've got gradients, that's the category I want to save it to, and click plus. And you can see it's been added there. Now you can click here, you can see you've got that gradient, but now with that, and that's the first one. The first one in this, just click there. Click the fill. Make sure you don't click the stroke, because that's of course set to black. Then you can go along here and you can see you've got your gradient. And you can apply it multiple times. So now, stored away and store it for future use. Again, go to the gradient tool and apply it, but you can also go to layer and duplicate. So you can duplicate that layer and then you can resize it. So just resize it. I'm just going to make it slightly smaller, rotate it around, and I just want it to be the same size that way and there. So just a bit of move in there and drag that across. And now you've got it going that direction. Well, what you can then do is go here to the layers and blend modes. So you can go for darken, multiply, and you can run through, maybe go for a diamond design. Lighten, obviously square designs, a whole range of different, that one's quite a nice one, soft light. Or maybe go for exclusion or difference, or maybe negation, reflect. All kinds of different combinations of designs can be created using this gradient. And of course you don't have to keep it as is. Very reasonable to go over to the gradient tool, select there and you can see that, and you can rotate it. just move it around, reposition it. And as you do that, you will get a different result. Maybe change it that way, and so on. Now you can also use this gradient with a different shape. So let's just remove that. Let's just go and select an ellipse. So ellipse, and you've got your gradient there. Now, of course, it never lines up perfectly. So I'm just going to drag that down again, and you've got that design. Well, what you can also do is you can duplicate that. So go to Layer and Duplicate. Now at this point, of course, you can't see any difference. It's the same gradient. But you can rotate that top design. Go to Blend Modes, and again, Normal, Multiply, Darken, run through them. Maybe use Lighten there, and again, Layer and Duplicate. And again, rotate that around again, and you can see you can combine them in multiple ways. Maybe use different blend modes for each. So go there instead of that one, use difference to create that sort of weird and wonderful design. Of course, at any point, you can always combine them. How to do that? Just go to Layer and Merge Visible. So it all becomes one single pixel layer. And then you can manipulate that further. Maybe go to Filters and apply distortions, blurs, etc. Also, you can apply, of course, blurs to these as well. So let's just remove that pixel layer now. Also remove that layer. And I've got two with that gradient. Underline one, I can select that. Go to Filters, Blur and Gaussian Blur. So apply a blur effect. And you can see then, very subtle change, but just applying a blur. Now, unfortunately, it does mean the layer below is now a pixel layer, not an ellipse. So you can manipulate the ellipse, you can manipulate the gradient, but you can't manipulate the one that's below. But you can move this around, change your mind again, lighten, go for overlay instead, or difference, to create an effect like that. Very quickly create infinite kind of amazing designs using gradients and that column design. You've got your two layers, you can merge them into one single pixel layer. Go to Layer and then down to Merge Visible. So Merge Visible, and you can see there, pixel layer with both. You can then just delete the other ones. If you don't want them anymore, just delete them. Then you can apply effects. So you could go to Filters, maybe go to Distort and maybe Mirror, and you can apply and create all kinds of wonderful mirror effects using that design. But you can also go to Filters and maybe Distort and Deform. But you can also use Lighting. So Lighting, with Lighting, you can then just go down here to Texture. Just increase that. And as you do that, you can see you get this lovely three-dimensional effect. Now, there is a slight roughness to the texture. So you might prefer, just before you apply this, just apply a little bit of a blur. So Filters, even though it's slightly blurry already. Filters, Blur and Gaussian Blur. Maybe not that much, but just about one or two. And that just creates a smoother design. So click Apply. Then Filters and down to Lighting. And instead of using Spot, use Point maybe. Or go for, Directional. And you can change that, you can change the direction, but also you can go down here to Texture and increase that. And as you do that, you can see that put it about 38, 40, and you've got this lovely three-dimensional texture design created from that column design, that column gradient design in Affinity Photo. And click Apply. And of course you can manipulate this design. You can then, of course, save it to your assets, duplicate the design, hold down the Alt or Option key, and much, much more.